Hi, welcome to She Spice. Katt Williams, who is a widely adored entertainer, is working up the show again. This time, he's out there getting down on some obscure stuff in Hollywood, pointing fingers at large names like Oprah. He's dropping sensations, saying Oprah could have contributed to forfeiting Corey Feldman. It will be in an aspect that's never been definitely. It can't avoid being. It's going to be the best thing drifting in 202. Imprint the words absolutely not a chance in something else entirely of business. You see, he has outrightly named how a few major names are maintaining this business, forfeiting youthful craftsmen. Yet, why is Corey it since he's a danger to the business? You freeze, you're in shock. I mean, youngsters shouldn't deal with that kind of stuff yet. How could Oprah, quite possibly the most powerful figure in amusement, be embroiled in such allegations above all else for me? The individual that was doing it to me the most, you know? Well, I mean, I could say that the two individuals that did it to me were both dear companions of mine, or so I thought by Feldman. Hollywood has a background marked by forfeiting the people who challenge its power or decline to play by its guidelines. Yet what precisely has Feldman uncovered? And for what reason could it put him in peril? They're actually working. They're actually something else. And they're the absolute most extravagant and influential individuals in this business. So a lot is on the line, and the inquiries are numerous. How far will Hollywood go to keep up with its grasp on influence? From what I've seen, each time someone attempts to raise a public name, they have a large chunk of change, power, and an exposure machine behind them. The individual who does the blaming is the one who winds up looking terrible. What insider facts could Oprah and others be frantic to keep stowed away? And maybe above all, what could befall Corey Feldman as he keeps on standing up? They would pull away the better-looking, more youthful children and save them for their own all-nighter, and they would transform into a pool party, and afterward, they'd have their principals. Goodness, there's no bathing suit on in the pool as these questions wait. One thing is clear, the story is nowhere near finished, so clutch your seats, since this video is going to convey the absolute most savage disclosures about the business. Projecting love seat even applies to youngsters. Goodness, definitely not similarly. It's completely finished unnoticed in a real sense. I didn't actually know it was only after I was mature enough to acknowledge what they were, what they needed, and what was going on with them, and the sorts of individuals that were encompassing me that I went, good gracious. They were wherever similar to vultures, from his own nerve-wracking encounters as a young entertainer to the foundational issues he accepts plague the business. Feldman has illustrated an existence where power and impact come at a staggering individual expense, and as of late, he's turned his sights on Oprah, blaming her for being complicit in Hollywood's way of life. And out they merit take Corey Feldman, for example, he attempted to stand in opposition to the A. He looked in the business, however his cases were frequently disregarded, or excused, notwithstanding that he continued onward, and tracked down an approach to tell his reality and Marty Weiss was a person who'd been me since I was 11 years of age. He was essential for the sci-fi grants, or anything that it was known as the Saturn grant. Many hopeful entertainers view Hollywood as a definitive dream yet. Ongoing disclosures have shown the business hazier side. Various famous people have shared upsetting encounters, uncovering brutal real factors that have ignited conversations and on occasion reaction from the public. He was in a real sense, very much like a holder-on man that essentially got into my life in light of the fact that he worked for the Saturn grants and was attempting to give me an honor W. So he hit me up at Corey Feldman's cases about his encounters in Hollywood haven't stood out enough to be noticed. They merit. He began as a kid entertainer and became popular for his job in the 1985 film The Goonies. Unfortunately, like numerous youthful entertainers, Corey confronted unseemly way of behaving from individuals in the business and indeed, even from his own family. His story reveals insight into the hazier parts of Hollywood that youthful entertainers might experience. So by Goonies, I began to lose a smidgen of it, and afterward, by Reserve, where it came into my Were You Pret? Viously doing coke ready and waiting me. Corey Feldman started his acting vocation very early on, at the age of 3. At that age, a kid can't give informed consent or completely handle the ramifications of entering media outlets. The obligation commonly falls on the guardians, and it's unmistakable. Corey's mom grasped the potential monetary advantages of her kid's vocation and beginning so young significantly affected Corey's life, presenting him to the difficulties and hazier sides of Hollywood that he later confronted on the grounds that my mother was doing it with someone on the Feldman arrangement of the Lost Young Men. Okay, this little hot minimal Asian lady who I was staying there one night, 'cause I was like nodding off, and I was discouraged during his pinnacle vocation years. He probably brought in a lot of cash anyway. Corey has guaranteed that his mom took advantage of his profit, a boundless issue among kid stars, in diversion to battle such challenges and safeguard their funds. Some kid stars, including Corey, have sought legitimate liberation from parental control. These endeavors have had an impact on working circumstances for youthful entertainers, provoking the business to turn out to be more mindful of their privileges and prosperity. I was a little disappointed. Like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to remain up the entire evening? And this minimal Asian woman comes dependent upon me, and she resembles hello. You ought to simply do how your mother stays alert. And I resembled what's that? And she's like during the 1980s. Entertainers, particularly youthful ones, had less mindfulness and information about shielding themselves from possible double dealing in Hollywood. Corey Feldman's encounters during that time filled in as a wake-up call for people in the future of entertainers entering the business. His story highlights the significance of shielding youthful abilities and guaranteeing their prosperity in a climate that can sadly be, well, you know, when you get to those ages out of nowhere, they start you more like you're a grown-up, right? And the work code actually applies. In 2013, Corey made a gutsy stride by delivering a diary enumerating the abuse he and his co-star Corey Haim persevered from influential men in Hollywood when they were only 11 to 13 years of age. Feldman's disclosures shed light on the way of behaving inside the industry and the weakness of youthful entertainers, starting significant discussions about the dire requirement for more prominent assurances and responsibility in Hollywood. I resembled gracious, all right? She makes it sound so natural and innocent. I should, in the event that my mother's doing it the way it is, however terrible it might be at any point. You know his disclosures about the way he looked during his profession, particularly during his experience, growing up years stretched out past Hollywood. He likewise revealed that his battles with substance sometime down the road were part of the way, a consequence of the injury. He persevered during those troublesome years first. As we did it, we had some good times. It resembled, you realize, we were talking. We're sitting in this young lady's condo. She takes me out driving. She showed me how to drive a stick shift high. Interestingly, during one of his meetings, he said, I can perceive you that the main issue in Hollywood will be, and consistently will be, the huge mystery. His choice to stand up furthermore, possibly uncovering the names of the people who hurt him, and Corey highlights the persevering issues of abuse in media outlets, particularly concerning kid entertainers like Creek Safeguards, who additionally face difficulties and double dealing quite early on. Feldman's disclosures underline the pressing requirement for elevated mindfulness and security for youthful entertainers by exposing these issues. Feldman has ignited fundamental discussions that could catalyze massive changes in how the business addresses and forestalls abuse, guaranteeing the prosperity and security of its most youthful individuals. You're in shock. I mean, youngsters shouldn't deal with that kind of stuff. He has forever been vocal about the clouded side of Hollywood, yet as he got more frank, certain individuals in the business attempted to close him down. One of those individuals was Barbara Walters, who is supposed to be Oprah's partner, and they do not need me to get out whatever I'm saying right now. Are you saying that yes? Barbara Walters, known for her hard-hitting meetings, could have gone too far in an as-of-late found video cut from an October 2013 episode of The View, in which she handles the delicate subject of Corey Feldman's previous encounters. Feldman was on the show to discuss his diary movement. There is no doubt, and that is what you're referring to in your book when you converse with guardians. You need me here right now. Handy dandy, he likewise referenced that they used to toss these gatherings where you'd stroll in, and it'd be generally jokes with only a couple of grown-up men around. You'd see exactly the same thing at film grants and Kids Foundation occasions, and you'd see a lot of individuals notice that Barbara Walters appeared to be more centered around safeguarding Hollywood's picture than tending to Corey Feldman's cases about youth paper during her meeting with him. Subscribe She Spice for more videos.